I heard a quote recently from Jeff Bezos that completely stopped me in my tracks. He said something along the lines of, if you give me 30 minutes, I can come up with 100 ideas that would ruin my business. Not improve it, not grow it, but ruin it. And when I heard that, I thought, yeah, I hear it because I see it day in, day out. The most dangerous thing in our businesses is too many ideas. I have very rarely, if ever, met somebody with not enough ideas. And ideas that are all half formed or never complete just don't generate the results that we want. It reminds me why focus has to be one of the most important decisions in my own business, which is why I've chosen to unusually stick with one offer for over 4 years now, especially in that season when everything feels possible and everything feels exciting. I'm experienced enough to know now that every single offer you have is like another business in itself, with an entirely new audience, with an entirely new marketing plan. So, those ideas that you have, you can park them some other time. I held my mastermind last week, and one of my masterminders said their favorite pages in my coach's planner, if you haven't got it, you'll find the link in the show notes, are the two pages where essentially you get the year mapped out and you can put all your shiny ideas to some other time. So, today, let's talk about focus, value, and solving real pain, which are the three things you really need to create a successful business. We'll also cover how to keep your business safe from your own very clever ideas. I'm Jo, and I'm the host of Women in the Coaching Arena. If you have been listening for ages, welcome. You bring me so much joy. And if you are new here, welcome again. I'm so happy you are here. We're nearing 50,000 downloads now, which feels insane, and something like 25,000 unique listeners. So thank you for being here and for supporting the podcast. So let's start with the danger of clever ideas. So when I first heard that Bezos quote, my reaction was a laugh because he could come up with 100 ideas that would ruin everything. So could I. So could you. Give any entrepreneur 30 minutes and a hot cup of tea and nothing else to do, and the list will write itself. So, what struck me wasn't the number of ideas, it was the realization that even if you have a huge team and all the money in the world, the threat to your business still comes from the inside. The most dangerous distractions often look like great ideas in the moment. I've certainly had seasons when I'm brainstorming 5 or 6 new offers at once. Maybe it should be a low cost membership, a course, a workshop. Maybe I should do a new funnel. Maybe I should write a book. And for a while, it can feel really exciting. But the truth underneath it all is that every single one of those things is a huge project in itself. It sounds easy, but for example, getting your lead magnet up and running has a lot of tiny steps involved, especially if you're learning something new for the first time. So that is the thing about distraction. It is really sneaky. It comes on and you think this is going to be amazing when I get this done. But actually, it can distract you from the most important thing you need to do right now, which might be as simple as tell your old colleagues what you do, or go out to your previous clients and see if they need more help. It can be a simple thing. Our brains will very rarely see the simple, and they will only see the most complicated method to do what you want to do. And all of those things will quietly pull your attention away from the work that will actually build your business. You may have seen online lots of people talk about boring businesses, and boring businesses are often the most successful, where you can have the genius that has all of these ideas and nothing gets implemented, or you can have the focused, boring business where you do the same things day in, day out, and eventually they compound and you get the results that you want. It's taken me a really long time to be that focused person who doesn't get distracted by every webinar and masterclass and 5-day challenge out there. Because in the early days, yes, I signed up to hundreds, but actually what they were really doing was distracting me from implementing what I already knew I needed to do. Somebody in my group program, The Business of Coaching, shared this the other day, and it was so important that she shared it because we all look for the next shiny thing. Maybe this magic bullet is going to be the one that helps me build my business, despite the fact we probably haven't actually even started marketing our business yet. So how can you do enough volume of what you already know, which is probably a lot if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, and get better and better and better at it? I once talked about how I like to focus my goals, and this quarter could be about upgrading my LinkedIn and making my content better. Next quarter could be about speaking on podcasts and up leveling how I do that. So I really recommend choosing a focus and becoming a master at it, really committing to being good at what you do, because we are in a competitive market and we do need to be really good and constantly keep improving, which is easy for a coach because you love personal development, as do I. So commit to that one thing that you are going to be amazing at in this quarter and let all of those other shiny ideas come into some other time in the year. So bring your attention back to one simple direction. If it helps you to focus, how I like to express it in very simplistic terms is 1, know who you're selling to. 2, know what you're trying to sell. And 3, tell as many people as possible. So if you are ever overwhelmed and wanting to, for example, speak on podcasts or create a lead magnet, check in. Do you know who you're selling to? And do you know what you're trying to sell? Because if not, you will not be able to create an effective lead magnet or do any effective marketing. So build on those simple steps and do more volume. I'm moving on now to the pain being the pitch. It feels really blunt, and I know lots of clients have come to me and said, I don't want to do pain-driven marketing. And you don't have to, there are other ways. But when you strip it back, highlighting someone's pain actually helps them feel seen. There's this guy I know that did these lives on Facebook, and he had hundreds of people joining him at 6 a.m. because he was so good at helping you realize exactly what mistakes you were making, but in a really compassionate way that made me feel less alone. So he might say, the kids get in from school, you're still on your phone. And then before you know it, it's 6 at night. You haven't even started the dinner yet. And you've just been distracted and sucked into everyone else's problems. Now, that's not him being mean to me. That's him helping me see my own mistakes and helping me feel less alone, because if he's saying it, that means he's doing it or has seen this before. So people pay for relief from their pain. They pay to stop feeling the thing that they have been carrying far too long. So as soon as you can be super clear on the problem that you are here to solve, understand the frustration behind it, the fear underneath it, the consequences if nothing changes, then you can speak with honesty. And this is the risk of choosing several different niches and people to speak to, because you can't speak in that deep way when you really don't know who your ideal client is you are trying to attract in. That's not saying that there isn't that messy part of the beginning of your business where you don't have any idea, therefore you are speaking to everyone. Sometimes that is the way, and the most important thing you can do is get out there and speak to real life people rather than rewriting your niche statement far too many times. I've been reflecting recently on top business coaches who I thought were so far ahead of me. And as soon as we've spoken, there's probably 3 different people that I've spoken to, and every single one are like, oh my goodness, how have you built what you built? So I have sold into this one program every single month for over 4 years, usually selling out every single month. I cannot remember the last time I did a webinar to try and fill my business of coaching program. I don't do sales calls, so I managed to sell high ticket from a sales page. And how I've done it always surprises me because lately in the industry, you'll see people talking about a trust recession and all of this previous hyped up launch is no longer working. And the best thing is, I have been marketing with honesty, not hype, before it was fashionable, because all you really need to do is be alongside your client on that journey, know their pain, because maybe you felt it too, maybe you still do. So it's easy for me to speak to you, my amazing listener, because I am you. I have been exactly where you are. And even if I'm not still there, as in I'm further along the road now, I remember it so deep in my body that I can speak to you about exactly what it feels like to be overwhelmed about your niche and all of the things that you are probably overwhelmed about, because I was there too, going round in circles, having no idea who to talk to. What eventually solved it for me was contacting my old employer to do some market research, contacting as many other people, having as many one-to-one human conversations that I could to really start feeling my way, getting what seemed like random opportunities and turning them into exactly what I do next. So you can't always know the perfect plan, despite that being what I help my clients to do. Yes, get 70% there, keep refining, be committed to keeping going until you get it utterly nailed. People also want speed and certainty. And if you can therefore help people implement much faster, then they will be so grateful that they can attribute you to them making progress. Today, in my business of coaching call, we had an AI expert teaching my clients how to build AI bots for their business. So that might be a bot that helps leaders make clearer decisions. It might be a more general AI coach bot, for example, where they can chat between sessions. It might be things like I've used is niche bot, offer bot, website writing bot, content writing bot, things that can help people to implement and get results much quicker than they previously would have done. And here is the surprising part. People trust you more when you simplify their route to progress. So if they can attribute you to them having a breakthrough of any kind when the time comes that they do want to make serious progress towards that goal, they will look to you to be their guide. Again, this is something I have done throughout my business, is not be upset if somebody doesn't buy at my first Dare Greatly event or my first webinar that I've ever held. Continue to be the guide. And eventually, when the time comes that they do want to go all in on their business, then I will be the one that they contact. So build the offer that makes everything easier. If your offer is confusing, then your business will be hard work. If your offer solves a clear problem, then it's really easy for people to see the value and say yes. And having a great offer does not need to be complicated. I am finally, after 4+ years of trying to consider the next step for my business of coaching clients and lots of other people in my world, creating a new offer called The Practice. It's super simple, but it does solve a really clear problem of people losing track of where they're going, what their priorities are, not gaining clarity, not being coached themselves regularly, then losing confidence in their coaching craft because maybe they're not marketing their business, therefore they have no clients coming in. So it's been really mind blowing to see such a simple offer to come once a month. Reflect on your vision for your business, your goals for maybe that quarter. How did your month go? Then get coached so you gain clarity and figure out why whatever you wanted to happen didn't happen, and to also celebrate the progress that you will have made. And then to coach somebody else And the most important part, step 5, is to return month on month. I am so excited about this offer because I know it's going to be utterly game changing for me and for so many of my clients. It was even more mind blowing when everyone in my mastermind was like, "What is this offer? I'm desperate to join," asking me for the payment link, despite the fact they're in my high value mastermind. They know that there's so much clarity in returning month on month. So, a strong offer removes the tension in your marketing where you are trying to talk people into it. Yes, it takes time, but it doesn't need to be complicated. Sometimes it can be a simple solution to a really painful problem that people see themselves in. So, bringing you back to where we began, which was protecting your business from yourself. If Jeff Bezos can ruin his business with 100 ideas, imagine how you and I can generate random ideas on a Tuesday and try to get back to our boring focus, which is probably nowhere near as shiny as our new idea. The real discipline in business isn't creativity, it's discernment. Which idea deserves your energy? Which ones belong in a notebook rather than in your calendar? Which ones will move you forward rather than sideways? Have a place that you store all of your ideas and know that you can come back to them. It's a bit like that person that says, if you see a dress in a shop that you desperately want, go home. And if you still want it in 48 hours, go back out and get it. Because most of the time, you won't want it in 48 hours. It was never a good idea to begin with. So, a really simple question that I have been asking myself lately, because I am mid a new idea, is this idea strengthening what already works or distracting me from it? Most ideas fall in the second category, and that's absolutely fine. Your ideas aren't the enemy, but acting on all of them is. You may also want to put boundaries around your new offer. So, for example, my new offer, the practice, is just going to be a once a year launch. I cannot afford to try and distract myself by selling two things at once. So, all I'm going to do is sell once each December for a whole 12-month period to be part of the practice. So I am putting that boundary around it so I do not get distracted. And so it does not distract me from making the business of coaching better and better every single month. So it does not distract me from marketing that amazing product that works for me month in, month out. So you can sometimes have new ideas, and bear in mind, this one has taken me 4 years to finally think, yes, this is what I need to help my business of coaching clients after the program and also help lots of people who haven't been part of it yet. So choose one area of focus that matters the most and let the rest wait, or create very strong boundaries about when they are going to happen. So if you take one thing away from this episode, let it be this: your business will grow when your focus is clear, when your offer solves a real problem, and when your message reflects that lived experience of your audience in a deep, deep way. That is really the key to your success. And then you can build all of the shiny funnels, webinars, all of the things that you may want to do on top of that essential element in your business. Another thing I gained clarity on recently is that your clients are not looking for perfection. They're looking for someone who understands them, someone that can help them move forward from being stuck to moving to where you are now, someone who delivers real results with utter care for you, and often someone that is on the journey. Like, I have only just realized that I never pretend anything in my business. My clients will know this well. I will say, gosh, like, I've got this launch coming up on Friday and I'm absolutely stacked. I'm trying to find time to plan it. I wish I'd have done this differently. You gain so much perspective from witnessing how someone that you perhaps perceive as successful in business is just like you, figuring it out, taking bold moves, trying things, later reflecting on what they wish they'd done differently. So you don't need to be perfect. All you need to do is connect with real people on a real human level. It reminds me of when I joined NCT and there was this person who would never admit that her baby ever cried or ever didn't eat the food that they cooked or ever struggled with absolutely anything. And they were not popular because nobody wants somebody that pretends that life is perfection. We all know, and we're all in the own back doors of our own life, that life is messy. Things are never as perfect as they seem on the outside. So don't try and pretend. Be yourself, show up and share the lessons that you have learned along the way. I had a new client join my program this week who shared a social media post that I often share in the chat. And for example, I often put 7 or 8 minutes on the clock and we go on mute and we put the post out. So I will share some sort of template. The one that I share a lot is about lessons I have learned. And he now gained his first ever paying client, a super senior one at that, from his lessons that he's learned post. So again, people don't want perfection. They want to see that you have been on the journey and that you can therefore show them the way. So before you create that new idea today, pause, ask yourself whether this idea strengthens your core work or pulls you away from it. Your business doesn't need more options. It usually just needs more volume and focus on implementing. Thank you for listening. I have a taster session of The Practice, my new program, happening on Friday, the 12th of December. If you can make it along, you will find the link in the show notes to join. And after the launch, I will share the official details with you. I know this is going to completely and utterly complement all of my other work, help so many more coaches make huge progress in their business with less focus on shiny ideas and more focus on helping you to actually implement all that you know already. That's not to say there isn't things to learn. We're always learning, we're always developing. It doesn't replace that learning, but it does help you to get that focus as to what area of learning have you learned already that maybe you haven't implemented yet. I would love to see you in my new program, The Practice, in 2026. You will hear more. And if you just want the details and can't attend the free taster, then do drop me an email on joanna@joannalottcoaching.com. Decide if it's what you need to have a super intentional, prosperous 2026 in your business. Coming back to your goals often, being coached often to get that clarity, and going out there and implementing what you learn month on month. Like I say at the end of every episode, trust yourself, believe in yourself, and be the wise gardener who keeps on watering the seed. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Women in the Coaching Arena. I have a mass of free resources on my website, joannalottcoaching.com. That's Joanna with an A and Lott with 2 T's, joannalottcoaching.com. And I'll also put links in the show notes below. Let me know if you found this episode useful, share it with a friend and leave me a review, and I will personally thank you for that. Remember to trust yourself, believe in yourself, and be the wise gardener who keeps on watering the seed. Get into the arena, dare greatly and try.